Well, good morning, everyone. It is Motivation Monday. I'm hoping that everyone had a wonderful weekend. I know that I did, and all is well. We put up our Vibe Talk After Dark radio show on Facebook. I want you to know that it's there. Please, guys, if you like it, let's share the page, like and follow. Like and follow. It's a beautiful page. I spent many hours working on that page. And I gotta tell you, when you're doing any type of radio, internet, podcast, it isn't supposed to be easy. And I hope you all understand. And so we finally got the page up and I'm loving it. Why am I loving it? Because it's hard work. And hard work pays off. And so, what I want you guys to do, if you care to, just remember that Vibe Talk After Dark radio show does and is going to be affiliated with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We are here for you. Can I just say that? As we are here for you, we'd love to hear your comments, your concerns, whatever you want. The number is 1 800 721 1-800-721 9260. Lines are open, and we're glad to have you here. Waiting for my co-host to come in. Please and thank you. So today, I thought we would take a look at how we're loving ourselves. Or the question is, are we? Even with so much going on, how can we add more love to ourselves? Let's think about this, shall we? And I want to talk about a couple of things. This podcast is, are you loving yourself more? Now, when we think about it, guys, good morning, Trish.
Good morning.
When we think about things, how do we get motivated? That part. Because, we all say we love this, we love that, and we're not going to be the podcast to tell you what to do. As if you were not mindful. Because anybody who's listening to this podcast can figure it out. Being mindful. No one has to tell you to think. No one has to tell you to be you. So what we do here is we let you think about the things that we're discussing. How do you talk to other people? What would other people say about you if you were showing that you love them? We'll start with you, Trish. Good morning. What would people say after you speak to them about you?
Um, they would say that I am a kind person, that I'm courteous, I seem polite, and they'll also say that I sound genuine when I talk to them. That's what I think they would say.
Yeah. And I think for me, people would say that I'm strong minded. I and people have said this about me that I am straightforward. I, I bring it to them real, and I don't sugarcoat things, which does not mean that I'm not kind, loyal. My friendships last forever. If I love you, I love you. But if I'm not going to be bothered, I'm not going to be bothered. I love hard, but down. How do we speak to ourselves? Do we believe those things that people see? Because, if more than one person sees you in the manner that we just talked about, because everybody has their own perception of themselves, we perceive ourselves differently. Some of us think a little less of ourselves, while others of ourselves are very high minded, and it's okay to have a good self esteem, but we don't look at ourselves in real view, in real time view. But what are your expectations of yourself? How can we get motivated? And when we're motivated to treat ourselves better than we did yesterday, does it show that you are loving yourself more? Everyone's on a healing journey. How's yours going? And I say that to our wide open audience. Wherever you're living, wherever you're listening to us, I ask you, is your new day an opportunity to love yourself a little more? Today's Monday. How can you love yourself a little bit more as you self examine? What did you do yesterday that you probably won't do today, honestly? And we're talking about in retrospect of how you may have treated yourself yesterday. I let myself get frustrated. I was up early enough, and at the last minute, I started to panic. And when I panic, that creates for me anxiety, where your chest feels tight. And by the time you start to arrive at whatever it is that you were doing, you're feeling almost sick to your stomach because you let the anxiety take over. And that's the emotion that we want to think. If it's causing you anxiety, it is not loving yourself. So today, I won't repeat the pattern. I want you to understand how that works. So, what's your journey? You know, a journey can be anything. Um, Dorothy of the Wizard of Oz had the journey to go and visit the wizard. So she had to follow the path of the yellow brick road. But in order to follow that yellow brick road, she had to find it first. Are you following? So for us to get on the pathway of our healing journey, we must find out more of ourselves. You know a little bit more of yourself, or are you still saying, I don't know? And if you are, you can arrive at your destination or your continued journey because we never stop healing ourselves. We never stop working to be better than we were yesterday. Not better than anyone else, but our best. So what are you doing? Is today that opportunity that you're going to take to be able to find yourself? You know, kindness. When we think about kindness, what does it really mean? You know, because we all show kindness. Or do we? Do you remember the last time you were kind to someone? I do. What about you, Trish? And those who are live can join in as well.
I do.
Yesterday, I spent some time with somebody that I really wanted to get to know. Kindness. What was yours yesterday? Your kindness.
Yesterday, my mom, she was very tired, so I didn't wake her up because usually we wake up together. I didn't wake her up, so I decided to go ahead and start getting everybody ready for church so she can get her rest. So that's what I did yesterday.
Nice. And those of you who are on with us, please send your comments. We get inspired from you guys, just like you guys get inspired from us. Our lines are open 1-888-721-9260. Kindness, being generous and considerate. And you know what? Kindness is very powerful because to the one that it is extended to, that one shall never forget it. Kindness. But now, how kind are we to ourselves? Because for some of us, we're generally a kind person, but to ourselves, not so much. So, what did you do for yourself that was kind? And you were able to acknowledge to yourself, not to anyone else, because we've got a lot of people that want you to know that they're kind people. This is not the intended purpose for today's motivation Monday. What did you do that spoke kindness to yourself? Trish?
I can't think of anything. I really can't.
Yeah. It's difficult. Kindness. The person that I spent the time with was very grateful. But I had just in the spare of the moment decided to do it. We went to lunch and they really appreciated that. Kindness you shall never forget. See, if we're saying we are kind people or we're not kind people, you put yourself and you challenge yourself, when was the last time you did something kind for you? We must get to know and find ourselves. Being kind to yourself, that's a hard one. You may not think that it is so challenging because I don't believe that there are people or many people that say, today I was really kind to myself. Sometimes kindness is just as simple as saying, I'm very tired. I just need to rest. You do yourself a favor because the body says, I need to lay down. And so by you recognizing and responding to your bodies, guess what? You've just done yourself a kindness. You know, tired feet. I had surgery uh, 5 years ago, and I had this condition called plantar fasciitis. And that's where I had a bone spur. So my feet hurt like crazy because my job was standing up, standing up, standing up. So my feet needed a rest. And every time I sat down, that was a kindness to myself. But when I'm not being kind to myself, I'm not responding to what the body needs. Everyone follow me? Because immediately my response is, I have so much to do. You ever heard a person say they're so tired, they're so tired, they're so tired, and then you see them again, they're what? Tired. And then you see them on another occasion, now they're sick and tired. You see the negative in that? So we can help ourselves by being kind, by recognizing, by being attuned, by being aware, by acknowledging that we're just tired. That is a kindness to oneself. How about finding your own pace? The world demonstrates to us their hustle and bustle of things. The states, New York, Philadelphia, so many other places, hustling, bustling, Hollywood. I don't know where you all live, but you see people coming and going on their metro link or their buses, taxis, Ubers. Can you envision that in your mind? See, our mind picks up those signals and we say, it's so busy. You're so busy. And you try to keep up. When keeping up with the Joneses, if you know what that terminology is, we try to keep up the pace and we rush. How many of you have ever rushed to do something? Me.
I rush with everything.
And how does that make you feel when you rush with everything?
It makes me feel so tired, and it gets exhausting, and sometimes I can't take that pace. And the thing is, I put myself under that pressure too, and I'm trying to find a new pace for me because this one that I'm currently on right now, it's not working.
Yeah. So when something doesn't work, do we stick with it or do we say, how do we solve this? Because you could be stuck. See, so when we are thinking about rushing, let's change that by saying, and this is how you started out, because it's not going to change in one day. Let's start out with the attitude of there's no rush. And this is how we do it, because let's say we have something that's impending and we have to get to it. We're given a date or a time. Everything is always a date or a time. Has anybody noticed that? When you do your chores, people are morning chores or night chores. It's always a date and a specific time. But sometime in our lives, we have to slow our pace and say, I'm going to get this done. There's no rush. Way before it's that rush feeling. And I'm saying this because I need to do this. Because I will rush at the last minute, like yourself, Trish, and I will put myself in a real predicament and that's how I was feeling yesterday. I woke up early enough and I needed to be somewhere. And before I looked at the clock, I was rushing and I felt panicked because you first have to get there safely. So I needed to slow down and tell myself that, that I love myself and I will not put that kind of stress on my body. I've done it with certain relationships and it was easy to do because I didn't like the response or the reaction to it. And that's what you do. I actually, just this morning, because I sent a text to someone, and in response, you know how your phone will say how your reaction is? Let's start doing that with ourselves. I sent a text and the reaction of the text was a heart, right? So that let me know that the person really liked what I said. If I had sent an ugly text, it would have been not only ugly, and the response or the reaction of my words would not have been a heart. I guarantee you that. So let's kind of check in and let's kind of see how we're doing ourselves. Do I want to be pressured with last minute trying to get somewhere? No, because I drive a car. And if I'm rushing and if I have anxiety, that's high risk of something like an accident happening. Or I might forget something that I really needed, right? So I want to bring myself the best to me by having things prepared in advance. Anybody out there like that need to have it done in advance? How about feeling like you're going to have a setback? Now, what this podcast does, we are a lot about the journey of getting better, or the journey of welling ourselves. And let's face it, we're all going to get sick. We're all going to have fevers, colds, you know, all that stuff that comes with life. But we have been on a healing journey with this podcast for 5 years. For those of you who are still with us, and sometimes setbacks happen. Instead of going forward on your healing journey, it feels like you've just taken 2 steps backwards. And then to even bring it home to you, you've not only taken 2 steps backwards, you've gotten off the path. Let's go back to Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. Before she completed her journey, she had a lot of things to face. And Dorothy got off of her path. Remember how she wanted to go home? It wasn't just that easy. First, she had to find the yellow brick road, and on her way of finding the yellow brick road, she ran into challenges, setbacks, things that keep you from your goal. Here, our goal is healing, talking about the things that make us unwell, that stay with us. We have people and things and experiences that throw us off, where we're feeling like we're rewinding in life. What what have you done, Trish, when you felt like
At first, when I felt like I was stepping backwards, sometimes I'll just stay put, like stay still, because I'm afraid if I go forward, then something's going to cause me to go back like 2 times more than I was. And then I had to realize I couldn't stop in fear of to continue to try again. I had to stop and think about, okay, what made me go back? What can I do better? So that's what I do now when I have setbacks.
that? Okay. So all of you that are listening, we're going back to visit Dorothy again. Did you notice that in The Wizard of Oz, she never stopped trying? And she had quite an event, right? She ran into the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Lion. What did Dorothy discover about them? That they all had their set of problems. And that's how life is for us. We meet people, we find things, we locate. While on our journey, we find out that there are obstacles, there are people. We take the time to listen to them. Didn't Dorothy display that? And if you did not see The Wizard of Oz, I don't know where you've been. No judgment. But that movie is very meaningful. Even in Dorothy's darkest time, upon facing that wicked witch, she never stopped. She had one goal, and that one goal was she wanted to go home. And then she proceeded. You think she was tired? After all, dealing with someone who has no brain, or so say, is mindless, pointless. We run into things, we run into life like that, right? After all, she faced someone that was without a harsh. Oh, we faced that, right? The cowardly lion wasn't as brave. Can we learn from that? But Dorothy had one goal. And then she had someone that was stuck. Who might that be? The woman. Remember, she stopped to help. Is our life like that? See, the point in being able to face our journey and still stay the course in loving yourself, it's how you overcame it. There are all kind of lessons that we learn in our childhood stories, and I always deliver it that way because I know that you can relate. When we were kids, we never thought about how that was going to relate to our lives, right? And then there are some good people like the good witch, Glinda. Remember her? Remember Dorothy in the red shoes? Oh, how I wish I had those red shoes. Because that was Dorothy's symbol of hope. Don't you wish it were that easy to click your heels and say, I want this to be over with. I want this to be over with. Dorothy stayed the course, and Dorothy could now be able to tell her friends how she got through. See, that's all that matters. Even Dorothy and that character, we find strength. Although it was a dream that she had, the point of the matter is how she overcame it. There were times, or there are times, where you and I feel what we feel, right? So when we think about our setbacks, let's think about that. You will all start thinking about the Wizard of Oz and what that means. Because Dorothy was just on a journey. We ask that you find out how to get to your journey. And if you have a setback, why, that's okay. Just take the course. Come a little little closer. I said, if you have a little setback or setback, that's okay. Just stay the course. When we're on a journey, it's very easy to get off and say, I don't want to do this. Demonstrating New Year's. We went through January and people said, I resolute to do this, that, and the other. And what happened? They started to dissipate. They started to get unfocused. Some, because others are just like that character, Dorothy Staines, of course. They said, I'm going to do this for the new year. It's okay that you do that, but it isn't okay if you give up. Have the mindset and the motivation to do it. Write yourself or think yourself, why do I want to do this? Because are we just making resolutions? And you'll hear our song. You've heard our song. It's not just a resolution. See, you're working on a goal to better yourself, telling yourself, I love myself. Because a lot of times, you know what we wonder in relationships? Why he or she doesn't love me. Excuse me. Why he or she doesn't love me. And we come up with all the reasons of why he or she, they or them doesn't love us. But can I ask you something really important? Do you love yourself? We're not being facetious. We're not being arrogant. We're not thinking too much of ourselves. Do we have an honest respect and love for ourselves? Because we put ourselves through some really rigorous things. And then we say, how did we get here? And I know you are all probably thinking about that time that you did that to yourself. And nobody asks, why are you doing that? You don't even ask, why did I do that? You're just doing it. Just do it. But now I want you to think about mindfulness because today is Monday Motivation, and I want you to think about how you can be the best version of yourself. That's important. Bringing your best and not overthinking it because then it becomes too much. But I want you to self evaluate and I want you to make a mental note of the next time in your life when something happens. Ask yourself, how are you doing? Expect from yourself something. Life is all about questions, answers, discoveries, hypotheses, which are guesses. We do that all day long. If we were to record how many times we've done that, there wouldn't be enough time in a day. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to start thinking about your love, and I want you to think about your lifelong journey to love yourself every day. And I mean that in the healthiest way possible. What does it mean? Omitting unnecessary stress. Oh, yeah. And that cup full of drama that you just poured into your cup, get rid of that all. And don't find a substitute for the drama. Be drama free. Zero. Is that hard for some of you? Because there are people who thrive on just drama alone. They take heaps of not spoonfuls, but cupfuls, 32 ounces and larger. Omit it. Don't substitute. Courage. The cowardly lion that we all saw. He needed courage. But he didn't know how to ask for it. And why, after all, should he have to ask for courage? See, life's lessons train us to be courageous. And you guessed why it's called Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. See, it represents courage. Cowardly lion needed that. So he too got on the journey. Because you see, Dorothy also had us understand something. That she was incapable of giving the cowardly lion exactly what he wanted. See, because courage is given by our own life's experience. When we go through something, we become strong. Many of us have shared our stories, and you say, how did they do that? Because you see, in the land of the living and the true, there is no wizard. So you couldn't see him because there is no one. But we, by our own experience, can build up courage. Courage to understand that every day we're going to face a challenge, and some of our challenges are going to be more daunting than others, while others are just very minute. But we will have challenge. Come a little closer. I said we will have challenges. How about this one? All have challenges. Every living and breathing person. But it's going to be how courageous we are. Are we going to tell a story of triumph, of victory, or are we going to get off of our healing journey and say, it was too hard for me. I wasn't brave enough. The moral of the story of the Wizard of Oz was each character already had what they wanted. You see, Dorothy's healing or her journey to go home, she was already home. Remember, at the end, it was just back to the lion. The lion realized he already had courage because after all, they went through some really trying times, right? The setbacks, right? Before they got to the Wizard of Oz. They had setbacks. The lion was overcoming his cowardice. outside appearance. By facing all of those things, he stayed on the course too. You guys remember that? And with assurance from Dorothy, little old Dorothy, or little young Dorothy, she was able to provide for him encouragement and reassurance. We look at our lives and there are small steps that we take each day. Do we love ourselves enough to acknowledge it? Do you remember, Trish, and you can step in anytime, do you remember when we had a caller who said that he lived in, I guess it was New York, I think it was New York, and he said that he knew how to drive, but he would have people call him up, or people he would call to come pick him up, even though he had a car because of all the traffic he had to face. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. One day he decided what? You remember? And he called in. He decided that he was going to drive. He had a car. He wanted to go places. And he decided that day it was going to be a day of courage for him because he didn't need to call those people to come pick him up when he had his own car. He got in his car and he was able to be courageous. Wow. Wow. What a beautiful story. What a beautiful story. You see what courage does? It inspires others, right? So off him and the scared core. We haven't talked about the scared core. And this is all about telling yourself to love yourself, recognizing that you have all the things at your access. You know, it's not like you say, I wish I had a Tesla, and bam, there's a Tesla. Oh, I wish I had this, that, and the other. Oh, I wish I had that. All the things that you need to sustain yourself, your mind, your heart, your ability to encourage, your ability to inspire. Take notice of those things. You see the scarecrow sung, If I Only Had a Heart. And how do we feel about that? We all like that song. And if you haven't heard it, let that be an assignment. If I only had a heart, and then it went to all these things about the heart. Well, on his journey with Dorothy and her friends, he discovered something. Here they were on their journey to ask somebody to give them that when he discovered he has feelings. By the time they got to the wizard, he has feelings. Remember how the wicked witch was trying to be mean to Dorothy and how he reacted? Feelings. Who of us living does not have feelings? We feel for things and people. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, the fires. We didn't have to live in the same state to feel sympathy or empathy. I was just told something that happened to someone just on Saturday, and it devastated me. See, because we have hearts, And what the heart does is the heart begins to feel and think, or not think, but the heart begins to respond to the things that it's reacting toward. When we put out the video, home that was dedicated to people everywhere, 230 something plus reacted. Why did you react? Because you had a heart. Do you speak to yourself as if you have a heart? For 5 years, we have been helping you to start speaking like that. I was gone for 1 week. I could not call anyone because things got really, really busy. The phone wasn't working, my personal phone. Finally got that fixed. Do you know that when I arrived at my place of worship, which is the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses, my friends, where have you been? We have been texting you. One person had tears in their eyes and grabbed me and said, I thought something happened to you. No one had seen me. And cried, tears falling out of her eyes. See, these are the people that we know that respond to us feeling empathy, sympathy, worrying about us. We know people like that. If I only had a heart, the scarecrow. And he had a heart. Today, I would love for you all to envision yourself with the things that you want most for yourself, whatever that is. If you're in doubt, I want you to pray and I want you to be the person that thinks about, gosh, I could really believe in myself. After all, Walt Disney said, believe to achieve. We've got Disneyland. And boy, did his dream ever come true. Back to Dorothy one last time. Dorothy said, after giving those ruby red slippers, I wanted to go home. I want to go home. What we find out is Dorothy was already home. Sometimes on the healing journey, we discover things about ourselves. And then we start to heal and we discover more parts of ourselves. What does that tell us? We have the ability to have those things. Love, hope, kindness, courageousness. Stay on that path and talk to yourself more loving each day. We're going to be right back after this. We'll be right back, I promise you. change about that. You need to focus on yourself. How do we do that? We don't become blind to everything around us, but we have an incredible desire to help ourselves. You know how people say, may I help you? Ask yourself, may I help myself? Give yourself permission to help yourself. Because if you're always thinking about making the change, but never doing anything about it, you're never going to see that change. We're back. I'm going to turn it over to Trish.
So this morning, I got a notification from my college. I get emails every morning for my assignments, and one of them was to make a story and make a storyboard for toddlers aged to 3 and 5. And so I was wondering, what am I gonna write about? Like I don't know what I'm gonna write about. And so I got to thinking, and I was like, okay, I have something. And so I wrote about a baby frog, and he's living with his mother, and their family is called the Frogathins. And they it's a Sunday morning, and baby Frogathan, he's sleeping, and he's dreaming about what he's going to do that day. He's dreaming about running in the park with his friends, hopping, and he's dreaming about having the lily pad lemonade, and he's dreaming about that one particular thing that he wants to do and he knows that he wants to do that day, which is to have his mom's famous fly pie. And so in the dream, he wants it so much that the plate that had the fly pie on it, it started flying towards him. And his mother comes into the room and she sees him reaching in his sleep. And then she calls his name and he wakes up and she's like, "What are you reaching for there? Like, what are you reaching for?" And then he tells her the dream that he had. And she turns around, and as he's explaining the dream that the pie was flying towards him in his sleep, she goes to his desk where his crayons are, and she gets the plate, and she lifts up the lily pad that's on the plate, and it had the fly pie. It was right there on his desk. And she was like, "Is this what you were reaching for?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's what I wanted." And he eats the fly pie, and his mother is happy that he still loves that fly pie. And that just made me think about the things that I want for myself in my life, and I'm reaching for them. And this podcast made me think about, like, do I love myself to continue to reach for it because it's in front of me until I have it in my hands, whatever I want to do, or the little things like if I want to just sleep all day and take care of myself. It's in front of me. I have the right to do that. I have the freedom to do that. But am I going to do it? Because I have the opportunity to. And I'll do it because I think I deserve that. And I have trouble just getting the pie that I want, and the pie that which means the things that I want, because I always try to work very hard before I get something because I see it as my reward, like me rewarding myself when I work extremely hard. there's nothing wrong with working hard, but there's a thing called unnecessary work, and I put myself through that. I do. And I'm working on that because I'm very hard on myself. This is making me emotional because I'm finally saying it out loud that I am very hard on myself and I really I don't I don't deserve that. Like I don't. And I know I work hard. I know that I deserve the things that I reach for because even if I put a little effort, that's something. It's not easy for me to accept sometimes because some moments all you can give is 10%. All you can give is half of yourself, and half of yourself is everything. It's 100. That's how it feels like sometimes. And I have to accept that and tell myself, you did a good job. You did great. And you did all that you can do. And I love you for that. This is hard for me to say, but I need to say it more often. I really do. So that's my Trisha's Treasures for today.
Love, love, love that. And love the story about the frogs. You see, when we think about things and when you hear the next time someone say to you, whatever it is that you want, if you speak it, it shall be. Next time, try this. I want you to speak to yourself how much you want, whatever it is. We're talking about things that are beneficial to you, to be more confident, to be more courageous, to speak about your feelings, speak them to yourself. Because that makes sense, to speak it to yourself, and it will be. You know, I used to always say I wanted my own building. On our graduation day a few years back, I said in my speech, I'm hoping to have a brick and mortar building. Didn't have the money, but it was in my hand. I could feel it. You see, that's the desire that I had, the heartfelt desire. When you reach for something, like Trish said, and you want it, remember the frog? You wanted that, and there it was. So because I've spoken to myself more kindly, I've believed in myself alongside the kindness that I speak toward myself, that dreams really do come true. I want to thank each and every one of you for all that you do. You keep believing in us. You keep listening to us. I want to thank my amazing co-host. Thank you so much for your Trisha's Treasures. Go check it out. It's on YouTube. Check out Trisha's new album. Check it out. Uh, her music. She's responsible for the open and closing of our music. Check out our YouTube. Thank you for doing that live, Trish. Guys, click like on our YouTube channel. We have 51 people. We want to add more. We say thank you for supporting us. Thank you for letting us speak to you as you speak to us. Lines are open, and even after we're done with the radio show, you can keep your comments coming because this goes live. This goes recorded as soon as we're done. You also have our permission to share it. So share it. And last but not least, our page is up, running live, Vibe Talk After Dark radio show. All about music. That's part of our healing, okay? And we're going to be introducing something else, but first I have to talk to my co-host, see what she thinks, and we'll do that tomorrow, and we'll bring it to you this week, what I'm thinking of. And I think you're going to like it. In fact, I know you're going to love it. Thank you so much. And please, show your support. Let us know where you're from. We are interested in your town, your countries, your cities, your states, your community. This podcast is Talk More Kindly to Yourself. Thanks, everybody. And have a good day. I challenge you. Because I don't want you just to make a resolution. I want you to think about. I was really about the moves that then I got the vibe with it. I really took my time with it. I really love the ride with it. Really got the vibe with it. I took my time with it. I really love the ride with it. Yeah. You can finally see a better you. Almost forgot. What's your take home? I want everybody to figure out what do you learn from our podcast of loving yourself more. Trish, let's start with you.
I learned today that I am within reach with myself, so I can take the time to embrace myself and show love to me. And I remember now, the last time I was kind to myself, it was this morning because I did a live for my music and I put a like on my post. It was hard for me to do that. I'm still working on that, but I did it because I thought, you know what, I deserve that. So that's what I did today.
Love that.
Yeah, so
Really.
that's my take home for today.
And I learned through Dorothy, the character of the Wizard of Love, to stay the course, and that there will be setbacks. But even though you have setbacks, whatever you believe, whatever you speak, you already know. You are the person that can make it come true. That's what I take home. What do you all take home? Let us know in the comments.